What is going on, YouTube? I am Germ here. Today we have some pretty big news to talk about coming out of the LCS, a story that I'm not super surprised to be talking about. I actually, covered this topic a little bit last week and kind of told you guys exactly what I thought was going to happen and now exactly what we are happening or are seeing happen. So I kind of wanted to give some of my updated thoughts and opinions on the issue, and then also go over something that Riot is doing that I really pretty strongly disagree with. I guess kind of interesting, kind of worth talking about, I guess. We'll get into it. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate it so much. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content, and consider checking out my Patreon over at patreon.com/IamGerm if you want to go that extra mile, helping support me, my content, and my channel. With that being said, here we go. So last week we got this statement, or these couple of statements from the commissioner, Chris Greeley, and now a lot of people are pretty upset with him, to be honest, saying that tonight the LCS learned of another positive COVID test. I know there was a couple staff members, some couple people with Immortals. They say that it was no one who's actually been in the LCS studio, so that was pretty good at least, but they have been saying that they were going to not be in the studio in week 8, and then that they were going to reevaluate things going into week 9, and I pretty much said there's no way they're going to be back in the studio in week 9. COVID, I don't know about the rest of the world, but I know in the United States, COVID rates are increasing very fast. Also, knowing that California and Los Angeles, where the LCS is held, these are two very, I don't know what the word is, but they're very cautious areas. You know, they're slow to open back up. They really like the quarantining and the mask mandates and all the extra rules and everything going on. So it's going to be very hard. These are strict areas. It's going to be difficult. These are going to be one of the first places to shut back down, to impose more rules, to not let people and things like this go on, to not let the LCS go on when things like this happen. And there is honestly a lot of people calling for Riot to act quickly and for Riot to make strong decisions, because if you guys didn't know, the LCS is actually hosting the finals in person. It's going to be in New Jersey in just a couple of weeks, and people have already bought tickets, people have already got hotels and Airbnbs, people have already got flights. And the longer we wait, just like some people are saying, the more complicated it's going to make things, the more expensive it's going to make things, and the harder it's going to make for people to be able to cancel, get refunds, get their money back. But I guess first we should just start with the big news coming out today, the statement coming out from Riot, from the LCS commissioner, from Chris Greeley, from the LCS themselves. They said, as a continued precautionary measure before playoffs begin, all pro players will remain in a remote play environment for week 9. Again, that is not very shocking. This is a week prior to what we saw last week. And again, from last week to this week, we have seen COVID rates in the United States, especially in the West. I live in the West, continue to rise. I'm in the healthcare industry. I know that we've seen the hospitals filling up more and more. We have seen more and more people testing positive for COVID. We see the COVID rules coming back. We got very close to not really having masks anywhere, and now we're slowly getting masks back on. We're going face shields. We're going double masks. We're doing all this craziness. People are getting more and more careful, talking about the Delta variants and all this different stuff, and not enough people being vaccinated, yada. The rules are slowly coming back. Things are getting more strict. We are trying to avoid another kind of disaster. So again, it doesn't really make sense for the LCS to not be in person last week, but then to be in person this week, when at best it's the exact same situation, but at worst it's just a worse situation than it was last week. So that didn't really make sense to me. They did say that all other broadcast elements will be produced from the arena this weekend, which, again, doesn't really make sense to me. The teams can't come in, but the casters, all the talent, all the people, like the production team and everything, they can all come into the studio, but the players can't. Obviously, I get it. It's probably easier to replace a production member staff than it is to replace, like, Jensen getting sick or Alfari getting sick or something like that. And it's just a smaller amount of people. Obviously, the more people you're bringing in, the more potential issues and stuff are going to arise. So kind of, just a lot of weird decisions going on. They're remaining remote, but the players, or the talent and the production team, are still going to be in the studio. They do anticipate bringing teams back to the arena for playoffs as fewer teams are present on site each day, which is an interesting point. Like, yes, there are fewer people in, but again, you're still bringing these people in from outside areas into the studio. I don't know. It's going to be rough. Do I think the LCS playoffs are going to be played in the studio? I hope so. I think it makes for a much better viewing experience. I think everyone likes to see the players. Everyone likes to get the real cams of the players. Everyone likes to be playing with less delay, getting to see the players' reactions, getting to see like post-match interviews and stuff of the players actually talking, not talking over like Zoom or webcam or whatever. I think it makes for an overall better product. I think the players prefer it. Obviously, the best would be to have fans and players and everyone, which is what they're trying to work towards in the finals. And if we get that, this would be so hyped. But again, things are trending in the wrong direction. Things are not looking great. But, you know, that's just kind of what I think. I really don't know. Again, no one knows where this COVID stuff's going. Hopefully, we are able to see the playoffs be back kind of in the studio with everyone. But if it is remote for the rest of the playoffs, I would not be shocked at all. I don't really know at this point. We're just going to have to wait and see. Riot doesn't know. The LCS doesn't know. They're just trying to kind of, you know, give people hope. But what is interesting here is at the bottom, a decision that I really disagree with. I think is very funny. I'm not sure exactly what the right answer would be, or maybe this is a good enough answer. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I have not really agreed with a lot that the LCS has done this season. I've been very vocal about that. I think everyone knows how I have felt about the LCS. And, you know, coincidentally, LCS viewership, fan sentiment, everything has kind of been dropping split over split, year over year, week over week even sometimes. But this is kind of funny. They did say, additionally, we recognize the impact this decision will have on ProView. Obviously, when people are remote, you can't have ProView. We didn't have ProView last week. We're not going to have ProView this week. Maybe we won't even have ProView for the playoffs. Again, it's still kind of up in the air. They are working on distributing in-game rewards to current subscribers. So obviously I replied to this tweet a couple of times actually, but I did say here, in-game rewards instead of a refund, weird champ. This guy replied with a really funny tweet. He said, yep, they'll probably give icons and ward skins, which I think is so interesting, is so funny, but I also just think is a bad decision. Now, I don't exactly know what the logistics would be of having to refund everyone. Maybe it's impossible, maybe it's hard, maybe it would just be extremely difficult, maybe it wouldn't even be worth it in the end, but people paid for ProView. Obviously, some weird circumstances came up that Riot didn't really plan. It's not really Riot's fault, but still, to pay for ProView, not get ProView, and instead end up with a ward skin, or instead end up with an icon, even if you ended up with a skin or a champion or whatever, you're getting something totally different than what you paid for. Now, I haven't read the terms and conditions. I'm sure that probably is in there somewhere. I'm sure they have their asses covered, like, legally and everything like that, but that feels so bad. It really doesn't feel like a good decision. Now, in the end, ProView is not actually that expensive, and people did get like 7 weeks of ProView or whatever, so even if you prorated the refund, it would end up only being like a couple of dollars or whatever. But still, instead, Riot is getting those couple of dollars, giving you nothing, you know, not giving you any ProView, the thing you paid for, and instead you're getting something completely different. I don't know. That feels bad. That feels weird. And I just kind of was voicing my opinion on that whole situation. I really didn't like this statement from Riot in a lot of ways because, one, I don't really think they have any idea what's going to be going on next week. They say they're anticipating coming back to the studio. They have no idea. And then in replace of ProView, people are going to be getting some kind of in-game reward or whatever, when people who watch LCS don't even necessarily play the game. Like, I know myself, you know, obviously I'm in like one of the top percentages of people who watch the LCS. I consume so much LCS content throughout the week, even just with the videos I make. I don't even play League of Legends anymore. So if I bought ProView and then received an in-game reward, that would literally do nothing for me at all. And that would feel really bad. It's not like you're getting, you know, you're watching competitive League of Legends. You're not playing the game. So there's a big disconnect there. It's kind of weird. But again, just more bad news for the LCS. If the more they stay remote, the worse it's going to be for broadcast, the worse it's going to be for viewership, the worse it's going to be for fan interaction, everything like that. And things just kind of keep getting worse. Every decision the LCS makes is bad. Everything that COVID does to the LCS has been bad, and yeah, it doesn't seem like things are getting better anytime soon. I just wanted to hop on here, talk about it, rant a little bit, let my feelings be known. But that's pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I'd appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about this whole situation? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.